Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to an extra special edition of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and today Tony Robinson, my co-host, joins me as we welcome back one of the best guests that we've ever had on Across the Pitch. And this guest has one half of probably the most successful, currently active coaching staff in all of English football. Man that over the last 20 years, along with John Coleman, has guided Accrington Stanley to 4 promotions. And we talked about that a lot last time he was on the show. So today we're going to talk a lot more about what's going on with the current season. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Coach Jimmy Bell. Thanks for joining us today, Coach.
Thanks, Phil. Phil, you've only got another 55 minutes to fill there. Can't you keep on talking? I was enjoying that.
He's hard to follow sometimes, Jimmy, with his introduction. So, it's a pleasure to have you on the show and talking Stanley and catching up. And we're looking forward to it. So I hope you'll enjoy the time with us as much as we will with you.
I'm sure I will, Tony. But it's always good to speak to you, as you know that. And obviously, we do everything we can to promote the club, and it's great to talk about Accrington any time of the day.
Yeah, talking about Accrington Stanley is definitely at the top of my list of favorite things to do, and I know that it is for Tony, and it's just an honor to have you on with us. And like I mentioned earlier, the last time when you were on with us, Darren Woodhead and I talked to you a lot about your early years with Stanley, sometime about your playing days and things like that. So in the past 18 months, a lot has happened with Accrington Stanley, especially on and off the pitch. Of course, things have been a little bit strange with the COVID and everything last year. Now we're welcoming fans back in this year, and Stanley is coming off of a big win in the last match. It's been a bit of an up and down season, but right now Accrington Stanley is sitting 10th place in the EFL League One table. So how would you, rate the season so far through 13 matches?
As you say there, it's been a bit annoying at times. It promised so much, and it still will promise so much. But we got to second in the league after I think it was 5 or 6 games. And, people were touting us for promotion. I knew it was a bit early. And I've always been one to not assess the team straight away, but assess them at the end of the season. Because you can never tell how good a team is until the season's finished for me. It's a long time, 9-10 months of a year, of a season is a long, long time. And we got to second in the league. I think people got above themselves, and since then we had a few setbacks, player-wise, injury-wise, and we went on a poor run. And but we've shown signs lately of getting back on the bike and getting back up there, and it was certainly a morale-boosting performance, and one that we definitely needed on Tuesday night against Charlton.
Yeah, I thought that match, to me, I thought the lads really stepped up. It was, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if you agree, but do you think it was the best performance of the season? And if so, how would you summarize the performance?
Yeah, definitely up there. Ipswich was a very good performance at home as well. And I thought we played really well away at Sunderland. And there's been, other games what we've won this season. But Charlton is a very, very good team, a very well-managed team. It was a team that was misfiring under Nigel Atkins, and, it's a pity, and I really do like Nigel. And he got the sack today, which is it's never good for a fellow manager to get the sack. But they are a massive club with massive fan base. The ground's superb. They've got unbelievable players. And, at the end there, they ended up with Jaden Stockley, Davison, and Washington on up front. Their front three are on more money than our entire squad. So that put it into perspective what width it was. And I know they were languishing third from bottom, but they're a good team, and they're a very, very difficult team to beat. It was a magnificent performance. I thought we controlled it from start to finish, and we had 2 hiccups which got them back into the game. But I thought in the end, the last 6-7 minutes, when I thought it'd be a bit of an onslaught, I thought we'd really managed the game. So it was a fantastic win.
And Pell's performance too. I know he has a lot of history, obviously, at Charlton, and maybe that had something to do with it. But I thought his performance was probably his best in the red shirt so far.
You know, Harry Pell. I personally, I've been following his career. He for a long time. It's about 10 years now. I've been following his career. One, because of his name. Very much sounds like my dad's name. My dad's name was Harry Bell. So a long time ago, when we first come across him, and since then I've always watched him and looked out for him, and always wanted to sign him. And I tell you what, he is tailor-made. He is one unbelievable character on and off the pitch. And it's his birthday today, and I wish him all the best. But I just wish that we could have signed him 4 or 5 years ago, because I tell you what, he is tailor-made for Accrington. He is a barn pot. He on and off the pitch. You've seen what he was like. He was like a pantomime villain on Tuesday. But he's, honest to God, he's infectious on and off the pitch. He's so infectious, and he's brilliant for the young lads. He keeps everyone on their toes, and he's a very funny man as well. So he's exactly what we needed at the time. There's not many around like him anymore, Tony.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I wouldn't have pegged him at 30, really, to be honest with you. And he certainly doesn't act at 30. Sometimes he's quite a character. So
he is. He's honest to God. I can't emphasise enough how big a player he is for us, and I know we've got him for another couple of years, and I know the fans are gonna absolutely adore this man. I'm telling you. He's brilliant. Everything he does, you know, I know he gets booked quite a lot, but, you know, his antics, you know, kicking the ball out, the fans are going to absolutely love this man, I'm telling you.
Now, what about Ethan Hamilton, who got the other goal? He's a guy who came over from Peterborough earlier in the year, and he really, he seems like he's made an impact since he's come over and really filled a need for you guys. Tell us a little bit about what he brings to the squad, other than, you know, obviously the winning goal the other day.
Yeah, well, he's infectious as well. He's a born winner in training. He is ferocious, honestly. I tell you now, he will kick anything that moves in training. He keeps everyone on the toes. He's a fantastic player as well. He's got an eye for a goal. He loves a shot. And he got a great goal on Tuesday. And it's a little bit difficult at the minute. That we've got an abundance of really good midfielders. And Ethan is definitely one that can play an attacking midfielder. And then you've got Harry Pell in there as well, Matt Butcher, Seamus Keneally, you know, Morgan. And there's only so many places. But somewhere along the line, you've got to get your best players on the pitch and make a place for them. And so the last couple of games, it's been a little bit strange that, you know, we've had, you've got Sean McConville in there as well. It's trying to find a place for them all, but get them all on the pitch, because they're that good that you can't leave them on the bench. You know, we've got 5 or 6 good midfielders, but you can only play maximum of 4. So you've got to find other positions for them. And we don't carry a massive squad of really experienced players. So it's finding a place for them. So it's been a little bit difficult trying to find positions for them. But, you know, on Tuesday night was a little bit of an eye-opener that, you know, we played Sean back in his natural position. We pushed Ethan from middle to left to right, and he seemed to be a lot more comfortable playing on the right, cutting in.
Yeah.
And then leaving Harry Pell and Matt Butcher to try and get alongside the lone striker. But they play in advanced position, don't they?
Well, I think, and John said that in his post-match comments. He give you credit for you recommending the switch, and it certainly it made an impact with Hamilton. I mean, when he got that goal, cutting in and just creating space, and when he got separation, he just put that shot in the bottom corner. I mean, it was a terrific play. As were all the goals, I thought that the second one that Pell scored was a great team goal.
Unbelievable strike his free kick and the one that was over the line. He should have had that really, shouldn't he?
It's hard. You don't get on the high follow. You don't get, but so people put pictures on, and it was obviously over the line. I just want. Now you mentioned about the midfield, and I mean. We haven't seen much of Joel Pritchard yet. Is he still out injured? And if so, when do you expect him back?
Well, he's trained this week. It was a little bit early for him for the weekend and for Tuesday to travel. So he's trained all this week. He's going to train tomorrow with the first team and we'll assess it tomorrow. But he's very close to full fitness, and he's been much missed. Because he's an exceptional talent, and we really have missed someone with the ability to and the pace to go past defenders and create things. But he's everyone's seen, he's a fan's favourite as well. He's a special player, isn't he? And hopefully we'll have him back soon, and we'll have an even bigger headache where we're going to fit them all in.
Well, that's exactly one of the questions that I had down was. When he comes back and the way the emergence of Hamilton, and you've got Pell, and I think personally, I think Morgan has stepped up his game this year from last year, getting settled in this year. He's really played well. His distribution, his passing the ball is top notch. And you've got obviously Seamus, who's just a steady influence. McConville, as you said, you can't fit them all in, but who's your best five, or who's your starting five midfielders if you have Joel back, or is that a fair question?
No, it's not a fair one.
It's a good problem to have, though.
It is. I'm sure we'll come on to it a little bit later on. Our preferred system at this present moment would be to play three at the back. Wing backs, three in midfield and two up front. Because of the situation, I think that we might touch on a little bit later. It's left us a little bit short up top, and so that's left more of a position for an attacking midfielder. So Joe certainly fits into that. Harry Pell has stepped into that and played exceptionally well and got us some really important goals of late. Matt Butcher has scored a few from that position as well. So it's something that we have to look at. And as we say, it's going to be a bit of a headache to fit Joe Pritchard, Matt Butcher, Dion if he comes back. It's getting the right system, but it's great to have them options and get them players around us, because the last 3 or 4 weeks prior to Tuesday, it's been a little bit of a hard battle for us. A little bit of tweaking here, there, not really knowing what our best team or the best positions for them are.
And I noticed the other night Ross Sykes wasn't out in the lineup. Has he got a knock, or is he okay, or will he be back for the weekend?
It'll be touch and go whether he's going to be available for the weekend. He took 2 bangs to his top of his thigh and got a dead leg, and it was too soon Tuesday. He's had a little bit of training, but he still feels a little bit sore. So it's the next 2 days, next 48 hours will determine whether he's going to be available or not. But Sam Shearing and Amankwe stepped up to the plate. I know they made a couple of mistakes, as lone players sometimes do for us, but them two played against Ipswich as well, and we won. So it's another it's another hard decision if Ross comes back in. You know, whether you leave one of them out and put Ross back in or leave him on the bench.
Oh, I thought Menqua played really well. I know the one error seemed to just stand out against him, but I mean, he covered that wide man of Charlton's and didn't give him much room. And the only time that the guy got away from him was that led to the goal, and it just sort of one of those unfortunate mistakes. But I thought he played well. I think you've got a big problem, as you said, that back three, because Nottingham is just, I mean, he never ceases to amaze me. He just seems to be so steady, but he's getting better, I think.
He is. I call him the Rolls Royce. He's an absolute honest lad. He's a diamond off the pitch, and he's playing absolutely fantastic on it. You give him a job to do, and a lot of the time he's isolated and he has to mark, you know, a big centre forward. And it's, you know, a lot of teams will never ever do that. You know, we went to Sunderland. I know we got beat, but we should have got something at that game. And we went man for man, and their wide men went wide, and our two centre halves that were alongside Nottingham went wide and left Nottingham one-on-one. And he's done it all season, and he stood out, and he marks absolutely brilliantly. And, you know, he's going to make a mistake here and there, but he is a big, big part of Accrington Stanley. And, you know, I think he's 32 now, is he, or something like that? But you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
In boxing years, I'd have him down as a young 18-year-old. He's got legs, and I think he could play for another 5 or 6 years comfortably.
Phil, you there, Phil?
Sorry about that. My mic was not wanting to turn on. So
I thought you fell asleep there, Phil.
Yeah. So one of the things that we wanted to ask you about was loan players. You guys get a lot of loan players, and like we've mentioned, you're starting to get some loan players in from larger and larger clubs. For example, you have James Trafford, who's come in as a loanee at goalkeeper from Man City. And you also have Toby Savin, who through this point in the season, if you look at the stats, has outperformed Trafford. So one of the things that we were wondering is when a guy comes in on loan like that, is there pressure on you to play him regardless of what the stats look like and get the minutes in? Is that something that puts you in a bad position when maybe the guy that you already have is performing better? How does that work? Do the big clubs, do they have an expectation in terms of the amount of playing time you're going to give to guys?
Sometimes they do, Phil. Sometimes when you loan these players from big clubs, they're on big money, you know. And what they tend to say is, or sometimes what they try to do, if you play them, you pay a small percentage of his wages. If you don't, you have to pay his full wages, which could absolutely cripple the club. So sometimes clubs are forced to play them that way, in that wages might be a problem. But Toby has come in. James Trafford played exceptionally well the first half dozen games of the season. Then we went through a very sticky patch, and we let a lot of goals in. I think we let a 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And he's a young kid who's learning his trade. And sometimes you just have to take them out of there and give them a rest and let them assess what they're doing and where they've come from. So that's what we've done with James Trafford. But he's a top-notch keeper. And I'm sure he's going to be, he could push, if he keeps on improving, he could push to be an England player, England goalkeeper of the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about before, it's a good problem to have when you're having to, figure out who you're going to get in there because you've got two top-notch guys like that. And I think that's really something that, over the past couple of years has changed where I know that if you were to go back to 3 or 4 years ago, that the starting 11 that you had was your 11 top guys, and then maybe you'd have 2 or 3 guys that would bring in off the bench. But but your starting 11 was your starting 11. Now, over the past few years, as you've been able to bring in more loan players, build a deeper squad, get guys on longer contracts, you definitely have more decisions to make. So would you say that there's more pressure on you as a coach now, or was there more pressure on you as a coach before when you had less players, if you will? Is it a situation where maybe more is obviously better, but also more pressure for you, I guess I would say?
Well, I would prefer to have a bigger, better squad and have them decisions to make. Where you've got a small squad, and we've had small squads this season, and through injury and one thing and another. When you've got a small squad, you know it's a long season, and you know come October, November time, December, January, you're going to get injuries, you're going to get suspensions, you're going to get loss of form, especially with younger players. And once you've only got a small squad, and you're then looking over your shoulder. I've done it many a time, but you're looking to make substitutions. You're looking to change the team, and you're looking around on the bench and you're seeing, very young, naive talents behind you, and who possibly is a little bit much for them to come into a tough game, League One game. So I would certainly have, the problem that we might have over the next couple of weeks where you've got to find places for top quality players. I'd sooner have that every day of the week, Phil.
And one of the things I noticed that when you guys sign players is that, one of the things that I know John talks about in his notes and his comments when he signs a player about the boxes he checks off and the character of the player. And I know an important thing for a team, and I go back to when I was coaching hockey over here, and one of the things that was important was not only character but the chemistry of the players. And so that they gel. Or how important is chemistry, do you think, on your team, or does it go hand in hand with the character of a player when you sign them?
It's massive. I've moved on to that, Tony, onto the psychological part of games and getting players up for it. And I think, I've heard coaches and managers saying, it's 50% this and 50%. I honestly think that it's 70, 80, 90% mental, a mental side to a performance. If your players are up for it and you're playing games here, there and everywhere, if them players are up for it, and it's my job now, and John Coleman's, and I'll touch on John Doolan in a minute as well, it's our job to mentally get them up for it as well as the fitness side. The professional athletes, we try our best to keep them fit, and they do keep themselves fit now, even away from football. But the mental side is massive, and getting them up for games is massive. And we've seen that on Tuesday against Charlton. I know I've gone back to this a couple of times. We didn't have to say anything. The stadium, the size of the club that we were playing, we knew, and we've done it forever now. When we go to these places, we know them players are not going to let us down. Now, no disrespect to Cheltenham on Saturday, our players weren't mentally right, and they weren't mentally tuned in. And no matter what I said to them and what John and John Doolan said to them, we just weren't at it. We were a different animal on Saturday to what Tuesday was. So, I suppose it's happened throughout the course of football forever. Liverpool going to Watford last year, and, they've got 6 or 7 games to be invincibles or whatever. But Watford, to them, is not a big game, and they got turned over comprehensively. So the mental side, getting them up for it, is absolutely massive, Tony.
Yeah, and when you mentioned too about analyzing matches, and has that changed much? Or I suppose it has changed, but to what degree has it changed in the 20 years since you started with Stanley and preparing the teams now, because you've got so much video and iFollow, and how do you analyze and get your help that makes your job easier or tougher, I guess.
Yeah, well, we've got a website that we use that we pay for called Instat Scout, which is unbelievable. We can get every stat under the sun about the opposition, and that's what I was just doing that now. I'm just going back 2 or 3 years ago. We started using it, and I got so enthralled in it. It took over my life. Honestly, every minute I was on this Instat Scout, and I was compiling videos for Thursday meeting, videos for Friday meeting, going through everything. And it, honest to God, I was spending must be 12 hours a week, possibly even more, analysing opposition. And that's the one thing, the higher you go, the easier your job gets, and in management, you have more people to do specific jobs. You'd have people who are going to analyse games. You'd have warm-up coaches. You'd have cool-down coaches. You'd have strength and conditioning coaches. At Accrington, we haven't got that. And, me and John Doolan do a lot of the analysis. But as I said, 3-4 years ago, even up to 2 years ago, it was taking over my life. And I was concentrating too much on the opposition. Now, especially this season, I've took a little bit more of a backseat, and John Doolan has took it on a little bit. And but only because I've started concentrating a little bit more on our own performances and how we can hurt teams, because it was taking over my life, opposition. And I'd feed back to John Coleman and tell him various things, this. But I was doing too much, and as I said, me private life was suffering because of it. Even me health, it was too much, and it can do. So I've learned now to just, when I come away from football, to set aside 2 or 3 hours to look at the opposition, analyse them, do a short video, show that to the players how they play, but then work on how we're going to hurt them a little bit more. And I've done this season more, so I've started doing that a bit more.
You're spending more time on things you can control then.
Yeah, definitely. I was compiling videos to show their defence. We would work on their defence one day, how they set up, and then on the offence, how they were going to attack and the best ways to attack. And it was taking over my life. And now we just touch on it a little bit. We tell the players, like, this is how they play. This is how they... And then if they want to come to us privately and say, Michael Nottingham says, it looks like I'll be marking player X on Saturday. What footed is he? What does he like to do? And then, I can point him in the right direction and say, well, that player is this, that player is that. But that's the trend this season, is to concentrate a little bit more on Accrington and how we're playing rather than on the opposition and how they're lining up.
So now I know that a big part of your scouting in the past had been actually going to the non-league games in person and checking those out. So last year with COVID, of course, there was most of the non-league games were canceled, or there was no attendance. So I imagine that having that video made things a lot easier for you, because you probably weren't really able to do that traditional scouting at non-league. How difficult did that make things last year?
Yeah, it was very difficult. It was a difficult time for everyone. The COVID situation wasn't ideal for any club. And, from fans to monetary value of what was coming through the gates and what the chairman had to do. It was absolutely horrendous time, wasn't it? And it was, hopefully, fingers crossed, we never have to go down that road ever again. But in terms of scouting, there was nothing to scout. There was no, non-league players weren't playing. and we have to concentrate on things that we can influence really, and more League One, League Two, Championship players, loan players from Premiership, and just concentrate on them a little bit. But it's back up and running now, and we haven't got scouts, but we have people who help us and watch games and report on games and tell us who's doing well in what leagues and whatever, and just knowing ourselves who's doing well in what league, who's scoring goals. And you'd have agents down as 3 or 4 leagues below the Football League who are phoning you up saying they've got this player, that player, and his contract's up, and would you be interested in him, and can he come in on trial? So that's how we do it. I'm sure in the next couple of years we may employ a chief scout to do that, but it all depends on money and money that comes in, and whether the chairman makes it available for us to build our staff and our network of scouts.
Well, that one thing that when you just mentioned about the chairman, and I wanted just to get your thoughts on what's going on with the infrastructure at the club. And obviously now you got your own training ground, and they're building the hospitality and the lounge. That must give you a good, warm, fuzzy feeling when you see all that going on, Jimmy.
It does. It's like our child, isn't it, mine and John's? It's 22 years we've been at the club. Or I think it's Christmas Day that it will be 20 years to the day on Christmas Day that we've been at the club, continuous. And it's watching it grow. It's like watching your kids grow, and good things happen, and you're proud of them, and you look and you want better for them, and you're always pushing the chairman for better. But he is an absolute. He's one of the best men I have ever met in my life. He is. I can't praise him enough, and I'm not just being. I'm not being sarcastic or trying to build him up too much, but he is. He was absolutely made for Accrington. What he's done is astonishing. He's never once got involved in the football side. He tells us exactly how it is. If a player has to be sold, he will tell us why he thinks he has to be sold, and we compromise, and he works well with John as well. And they come up with the right answers 9 times out of 10. But the way he deals with figures and facts is astonishing. The club has gone from strength to strength. The training ground's not quite right, and I don't think it'll be right till the start of next season. But the way the ground has come on, we spent an absolute fortune on it, and the new clubhouse, the away, the back of the stand, the Eric Worley stand, and the home fans behind the Clayton stand is absolutely astonishing. All that's left after that is the changing rooms and the roof over the away fans, and he'd have completed what he set out to complete a long time ago. I think it's 5 years ago now. Yeah, and he just needs all the applause and a man can never have. Apart from all that, he's just a great man, and he's a great leader as well, and a great person to have around the club.
And we didn't touch on, but that shirt giveaway has got to be the most unique thing in English football, because I don't know anybody else does that, and for him to step up and do that, and now how it's evolved, I mean that says a lot about the club and the man himself, doesn't it?
It does. 1,200 shirts. He's done it. I think it's for 3 years now. The last 3 years. And what he wants to do, he wants to build a fan base for the future. He wants them kids to come and support Accrington. They're going to be the future. I seen a video of our fans travelling, and there wasn't many, but they're absolutely genuine fans. And I seen them on the coach, and I can remember them coming to the ground when they were 4, 5, 6 years of age, 7. So, they're going to be the future, all them shirt giveaways. Hopefully we get quite a lot of them who will now support Accrington. And in the future, they'll be our fan base. So there's a reason for it. But it's great, for anyone to get, I think the £40 shirts are the £30-40 shirts. To actually give them away and fund it is fantastic by the chairman. And he's got a great team around him as well. If you go in that office now, Mark Turner and Daney and Dave Burgess and Lynn and, Luke, the great people. And I'm blessed that, I go to work every day and look forward to going to work alongside these people. I love going in and having a coffee with them in the morning before I go and see the lads. There's a lot of work goes on from a lot of people and, Peter and all the fans. It's a great place, isn't it? And our job is to make them happy. And it's simple, our job, isn't it? Just go out and win a game of football. That's all we wanted.
We forgot to ask at the beginning of the show, how was your knee? Because I know you were on the crutches with.
Yeah. It's coming on. I think it's 17 weeks post-op now. Just starting to feel a benefit from it. I had a total knee replacement. The first 7-8 weeks was horrendous. The lack of sleep and everything. I know a few of our fans have had the operation and they've advised me what to expect and whatever. But it was absolutely horrendous. But I needed it doing. And hopefully, I am on the mend now. And just look forward to getting back. I am on the training ground, but getting back and thinking I'm Kenny Dalglish again and running around.
Well, that's not all bad, is it?
No.
Well, we definitely wish you a continued speedy recovery, and you can be out there kicking some butts on the training pitch here. And what we want to do now is the most fun part of the show, and also maybe the most popular part of the show. And all of the credit for this has to go to Tony, because this was his brainchild about a year and a half ago. And now, since you had already done some of the traditional questions the last time you were on the show, I'm going to turn it over to Tony for what is now the world famous, new and improved rapid fire.
I wish you wouldn't do that, Phil. First off, I just want to ask this. This is sort of I don't know if it's a rapid fire question, but I thought it'd be a fun question. If Stanley made into the championship, is that a bigger story than Liverpool winning the Premier League?
Yeah, it's got to, hasn't it? It's got to be, because Liverpool should be challenging for the league every year. They're a magnificent club. I'm a big Liverpool supporter. I thought the big story was Accrington getting into the conference. Then getting from the conference to the Football League was unbelievable. It's been emulated that, clubs the same size of Accrington have got into the Football League, I'm sure. It was a big story. But to win League One, to go within 2 leagues of the best league in the world, the most richest league in the world, is unbelievable, especially for the size of Accrington. To go one step and get into the championship, there's 2 massive steps in football. One is championship to premiership. That is a massive step.
Yeah.
But as big a leap, and monetary wise, is from League One to championship. Now that's in the sponsorship money. If you got 100% of sponsorship money, 80% of EFL money goes to championship clubs, 12% to League One, 8% to League Two. So that is how big a step it is from League One to championship. So to answer your question in short, yeah, it is. It is a bigger achievement, Accrington going to the championship.
I was going to say Leicester, but I knew you were a Liverpool supporter, so I threw Liverpool in.
Yeah, Leicester was an unbelievable achievement, but you know, it was, and it captured everyone's imagination at the time, wasn't it? Because of all the big bucks that the top six had. It was a breath of fresh air, Leicester winning it, and they've gone on to be, you know, the challenge for to the Premiership a couple of times since, haven't they? And they're up there again. They're a good team, and it's been proved that.
I think not only financially, if Stanley goes to the Championship, I think it's a big story, you know, for in sports and in football. I mean the exposure that it would bring to the club in excess of the finances would be priceless, really.
Well, it would, wouldn't it? Well, yeah. Mr. Holt jokingly said to me and John last season when we were telling, he said, if we get to the Championship, he said he'll give me and John, quote, £1 million each. We can have 12 months off and then come back, and he'd have three years parachute payment to try and get us back up. He said, there's no way we're staying in the Championship. He said, but we'd have 3 years parachute payment. And I've mentioned that a couple of times to him, and I think he said, I never said that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he was drunk when he said it.
Yeah. Well, he might have had a couple of back heels. Anyway, I'll get back on track here, Phil, with the.
Well, actually, I wanted to stay a little off track because I like to use some analogies sometimes to kind of, you know, paint a picture. And when you're talking about, you know, how big the steps are between the different leagues, it made me kind of think about something that I had read about astronomy once. And that was basically that when the planet Jupiter was discovered, that the size of the solar system actually doubled because the distance from Mars to Jupiter is the same as the distance as it is from the sun to Mars. So what I was thinking is that it's almost like if you were to think about the different leagues as planets, and so, you know, once you get to Venus, that's like the conference, and then Earth would be League 2, and right now you're on Mars in League 1. And then the Championship is that big jump all the way to Jupiter that's just as big as all the other steps combined almost.
I don't know how to answer that one. I'll let you take that one, Jimmy.
No. Where's the Premiership? What planet's the Premiership then?
I haven't a clue.
Come on, Phil. Which planet's the Premiership?
Is it the sun?
Well, the Premiership would be like Neptune, I guess, because that's be the furthest out planet.
Oh, I think you need to polish that analogy. Yeah, I might
take your word for that one, Phil.
I might call you BS on that one, Phil, but we'll check on that.
You lost me on that one.
I'm a bit of an astronomy buff.
I had to set my alarm on that analogy just because I wasn't sure where you were going, Phil, but that was good.
Okay. I'd have to have my little son Elliot with me to answer that one. He's school teacher now.
There you go. Okay, back to the rapid fire.
Back to rapid fire, Tony.
Okay,
go on.
If with your full English, black pudding, yes or no?
Reluctantly, yeah, because I'm greedy. I'm greedy. If it's there, I'll have it.
Good man. Your favorite band or musician?
Rod Stewart at the minute. Really big fan of his. Bands I like U2, Coldplay's, obviously the old ones, the Beatles, Frankie Valli and all them. Show me age now, aren't they?
Yeah, well, no, I actually seen Rod Stewart. I really enjoyed his music in the 70s and even to this day he's got some classic.
A couple of new ones out what I like as well. He's a character as well. He's someone that I'd like to go out for a meal with as well.
Your favorite film?
Seven. Have you seen that one, Brad Pitt?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, what a film. Seven Deadly Sins, and you have a serial killer, and they've got to catch him. Kevin Spacey, Brad Pitt. I think Morgan Freeman's in it as well.
Oh, I have seen. Yeah, it's a few years old, that one. I have seen that one. Once you mentioned Morgan Freeman, yeah, I like him I like him in
detective trying to catch Kevin Spacey, and it's got a twist at the end that just blows your mind.
If you like him, you'll enjoy Shawshank Redemption. I like that. That's
up there as well. That's everyone's, isn't it? That's everyone's favorite.
Yeah, so
Silence of the Lamb as well.
In the lounge afterwards, would you prefer Accy Ale or a lager?
Would you prefer what?
Accy Ale, or would you just go with a lager?
Well, you know what? I haven't drunk lager now for 4 years. I haven't touched lager. I'm a cider man now. I don't drink that much anymore. But when I do, I'll just have a couple of ciders, and then I'll go on my favourite tipple, which is brandy.
Oh, that's all right. Nothing right with that.
No, I'm not really an ale man or a lager man anymore.
Who has a better sense of humor, you or John Coleman?
Me.
I think he said that too. I think he agreed with that. Your favorite takeaway?
Chinese curry, special curry, king prawn foo young, something like that. I like Chinese food.
Yeah, I can't go wrong with that. I know John likes to go out on the golf course. Do you have any hobby outside of football?
Yeah, I'm a keen golfer. Not very good. I haven't played for a while, obviously, with my knee, but I love my golf. I've moved up to East Lancashire now as well. I've got a lovely house in Clayton-le-Dale down that way. I love going out. I've got a couple of dogs now. I love going out for walks and clearing my head, gathering my thoughts and whatever in the Lancashire air that I breathe.
I'm right there with you on enjoying the golf, but not being any good at it.
Well,
if I break 100, then that's a real good day.
But Phil, it's an unbelievable sport. Is that, I could go out, not that I have done ever. I could go out with Tiger Woods and have a competitive game with him. In the handicap system is fantastic. And it's just brilliant. I just love the sport. It's absolutely fantastic.
Well, you've got one thing in common with Tiger Woods. You've both got wobbly legs now, or a wonky knee.
No, that's very bad to me.
In the film, if they were to make a film about you and John, who plays you and who plays John Coleman?
Well, that's a difficult one, isn't it? With us both being really handsome and good looking and all that, you'd be thinking of Brad Pitt and people like that, wouldn't you? Tom Cruise, but I don't think they'd play us particularly well. So I'm thinking more, and it was a film that come to me, Mike Bassett, I think. If you remember Mike Bassett, England manager.
Oh, yeah.
So someone made me aware of it this week. Ricky Tomlinson. I think Ricky Tomlinson would play a great John Coleman. And I can see in that Mike Bassett, some of the things that he's done there, it makes me laugh, because the laughs that me and John have had over the last 25 years being together, some funny things have happened. And I think he would make it, I know he's done the England manager one, but I think he'd play John really well. And I only found out that Bradley Walsh played as assistant manager. I'm a big fan of Bradley Walsh as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I think them two played a great part in that, and I think they play a great part playing me and John as well.
Well, the only problem with Bradley Walsh, he's a Hammers fan, but other than that, he's a. I like it.
We could say him, can't we?
Yeah.
Once he comes to Accy, they don't go back, really.
No. I think when we asked John that question, he had Vin Diesel playing you, and I think
I've been called that a few times.
And the other one was, I can't think of his first name, but I think he's passed on now. Is Hoskins? Anthony
Aston.
Yeah, that they would play. Yeah.
Silence of the Lamb. Yeah.
The last one I wanted to ask is, and you've mentioned one name, but can you name two people that you would like to sit down and have dinner with, whether living or dead or whatever?
Well, obviously, and I know a lot of people who have lost loved ones would say, I'd everything I've got to have another night with my mother and father who have passed away. I would give everything to just have that. On a sporting front, I would have to say I'm a big fan of Liverpool, Bill Shankly. I'd love to sit down with him. And a Liverpool fan to say Alex Ferguson is testament to how good Alex Ferguson was. And I'd love to sit down with them too and have a meal. It'd be and just talk about football and what it was like back then, what it was like for Alex Ferguson coming through with all these superstars and how he handled it. He was absolutely unique, and what he got for Manchester United and what he done for Manchester United was exceptional. For me, he's the best manager of all time. It'd take a lot for anyone to surpass him. And, for a Liverpool fan to say that, having the success that we had under Bob Paisley and whatever, that is testament to how highly I rate Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, I watched a documentary last night on George Best and his career and his personal problems he had. And there was a part where he said he went to talk to Alex Ferguson one time, and he said, would you have done anything different with me if you had me as a player? And he said, unfortunately, George, he said, I use you as an example of what not to do in your personal life and the things that can go wrong with a football player. So George Best is used as an example, but not for the right reasons. But I guess Sir Alex was being honest, and that's typical of the man. I think.
Yeah, it was exceptional. Did he answer the question? Would he have done anything differently with him? Could he have handled George Best any differently? I don't think he could have, because at the time, what I can remember, George Best was getting a little bit above himself in terms of his private life, what he was doing. And, everyone knows what he done to David Beckham at the age of 24, 25. He thought he was getting a bit above himself, and he ended up throwing a boot at him and getting rid of him, didn't he? So, I think he would have done exactly the same to George Best. I think Alex Ferguson would have got rid of George Best and moved on.
Yeah, it was a tragic story watching that. But, as far as actual players that I've seen live, he was the best football player I ever saw live. And I saw him at Turf Moor when he played against Burnley. And the man was incredible, but such a sad story. But anyway, that's it for the rapid fire for me, Phil.